Yo, Parish Orphans and Retrogrades here on a Friday afternoon show. I bring you an episode of Rules for Retrogrades that isn't our typical topic. We're not talking about the church. We're not talking about feminism. We're not talking about patriarchy. We're not talking about the Latin Mass or Pope Francis. Today, I want to discuss the prospect of Joseph Biden, the president of the United States, staying in the 2024 presidential race. We had, over the last 36 hours, reports widespread that Biden would be dropping out at any time. So that was yesterday throughout the RNC convention at which Tucker Carlson spoke. I know Tucker a little bit. Very good dude. Love Tucker like everyone else who's got a brain in America. Trump spoke for a very long time. It was good to see him doing well. And during this, and there's some other people, Dana White introduced Trump. You had some other big-time speakers. And whatever, it's a Republican National Convention. It's, they do RNC things. But it was atypical insofar as Trump had been nearly assassinated, come within a quarter inch of his life 5 days before, and he's pretty chill. He's a pretty chill guy. I do find him a little less funny than he used to be. He used to be hilarious, but I was glad to see he was doing well. All throughout the RNC day, Thursday, yesterday, beginning, I think a little before, had been a circulated rumor that Joe Biden was ready to drop out at any moment. He's cooked, they were saying. He'll supposedly drop out by Sunday. I'm not ruling that out. And when I make predictions about Pope Francis, they come to pass. I've never claimed the same about Biden or presidential races, but I think I have a good feel on what's going on. Last night, over the night when we all slept, as we were being told within 72 hours, Joe Biden's going to drop out of the race, something else happened. What was it? Well, it was this. There was a CrowdStrike outage. CrowdStrike is software. And it's, some are saying, an example of a deniable infrastructure attack. Some are saying, well, it has something to do with Biden staying in the race. This is Michael Guimarin. He said it relied on a human being pushing a misconfigured patch update to all CrowdStrike's customers. Was this deliberate? A Drudge Report article said it could take weeks to actually figure out and know what's going on. There seem to be workarounds, in effect, that are helping planes, which had been grounded largely around the world. Planes had been grounded because of this CrowdStrike outage that happened while we slept. Some are getting off the ground, but no one really knows what's going on. People are saying to prepare for a mass psychosis event, to prep, the next few months. Think 4 years ago. Wall Street Silver on Twitter, Twitter, said, good news, Joe Biden is staying in the race. The reports of him withdrawing this weekend are false. Hunter and Jill are doing the right thing in their advising of Joe to keep him in the race. Here's what they said on MSNBC this morning.
Joining us now, chair of the Biden-Harris campaign, Jen O'Malley Dillon. Jen.
Hilarious name. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Joining us now, chair of the Biden-Harris campaign, Jen O'Malley Dillon. Jen, thank you for being on. So, what is the plan? Is Joe Biden still in the race? Does he plan to stay in the race? And if so, what's the plan?
Thanks so much for having me, Mika. And look, absolutely the president's in this race. You've heard him say that time and time again. And I think we saw on display last night exactly why, because Donald Trump is not going to offer anything new to the American people. He's the same person he was in 2020. He's the same person he was at the debate stage. He's the same person he is that is about himself and not about the American people. And Joe Biden is more committed than ever to beat Donald Trump. And we believe on this campaign, we are built for the close election that we are in, and we see the path forward. The president is the leader of our campaign and of the country, and he is clearly, in our impression and what we've built and in our engagement with voters, he's the best person to take on Donald Trump and prosecute that case and present his vision versus what we saw last night.
Okay, so no one believes any of that. Democrat, Republican, somewhere in between, or just flat out don't care. Any of those four categories, no one believes it. What's going on with the shell game regarding a simple, eventually fully public front-facing decision? Democrats pulling Joe Biden out of the race or not? What's going on with that? What are they straw polling? I don't know. Those who are speculating about the event last night are saying, well, maybe the Microsoft outage is just a hint of what's to come. I suspect they're introducing it to shift the Overton window and prepare people for a mass psychosis event in the future. This is your Simo on Twitter. This is obviously just speculation, but I encourage you to be careful at taking things at face value and take the relevant precautions. After the hysteria 4 or 5 years ago, you know what? It's undeniably evident the media aren't on our side. Remember event 201? Remember that one? In 2019, October the 18th, it was. What do we really have here? Like Saruman says, it's a little mini council they have in The Hobbit. What really do we have? Major computer outages worldwide because CrowdStrike software messed up in a software update. And planes are grounded all around the world. Not globally, is in the sense of every single plane was grounded, but all throughout the world, intermittently, lots of planes were grounded. Banks weren't working, were closed today. CrowdStrike was hired by the DNC, you might not know this, to handle Hillary's emails investigation. They also agitated the you something war, blaming another major country that borders both Europe and Asia, kind of considered part of Europe and Asia. CrowdStrike was part of that. Trump asking Zelensky about CrowdStrike is why, arguably, someone in the U.S. government investigated Trump, because Trump asked Zelensky. Now they're involved with the biggest IT failure ever on the day after Trump's RNC speech. These could all be coincidences. Coincidences are far less likely than incidences, meaning two things happen and they're causally correlated. I'm dealing with my friend Paul here, who knows a lot about this and it's military and all that. There's a law school friend of mine. I'm sure it won't come up again before the election, and this was just a random event, he said. So that's. I'm just going to talk about Biden a little bit. Biden the Catholic, Biden the president. First, I want you guys to know you could support this channel on Locals and Subscribestar. Please do so. You can also support me and my family through private donation at timothyjgordon.com. Click donate. Locals and Subscribestar are the channel. And also, if you want to support the channel, click like, subscribe, click the notification bell. I've been trying to not overload you with all one thing. Also, if you want to support the channel, buy classes. $75 a pop for most of our 18, 19 classes on offer at timothyjgordon.com. Click enroll. $75 for some invaluable stuff like the Nicomachean Ethics. Over a dozen and a half more classes. Now, the one that's not 75, that's 175, is the One Flesh marriage class that's going live on September the 11th. No one knows how marriage is done because your marriage prep class was a sham. It taught you the opposite of what you need to know if you had one in the Catholic Church. No one else knows it. This is the One Flesh marriage class. It goes live on September the 11th. Enroll in this today. Spots are limited. We can only go up to X number. And about 50 people are already in the class. More will enroll in August, I'm sure, but lots more. But get into that class. Now, this is a major pillar of the channel. Some are saying, oh, it's become the main pillar of the channel. Patriarchy, how to do patriarchy right, how to do marriage. Well, guess what? My long-awaited 5th book, I have 4 books sitting here that are the 4 pillars of this channel on patriarchy, subsidiarity, re-education, new re-education, and right-wing community organizing. Well, my 5th book is also going to be on that patriarchy pillar, and that'll officially skew my publications toward favoring, yes, I'll have 2 books that weight toward one pillar of the 4 pillars of the channel. And this is all you need as a person, as a member of Christendom, to do it right. But instead of just talking about patriarchy, or there's also a 5th book already associated with the channel, Steph's, Ask Your Husband, another patriarchy book. So there will be 3 of the 6 books associated with this channel. If you include Steph's, 3 will be patriarchy. The other 3 are the other 3 pillars. You see, it's all about how to do patriarchy right. This is more how to be a man who's married. This is more about how to be a woman who's married. The book that will be sort of like the textbook for the 9-course class of One Flesh will be called Leave and Cleave, and it's how to be a man and a woman together, how to get through fights, how to make every day lovely, stuff that was once sort of standard being taught in the church, in the pre-conciliar church. Now it's actually censored by the church. So unless you go and you know which old manuals to look at, this is our book, Leave and Cleave, that we're going to try to have ready for September the 11th. Try to have it, people have already pre-ordered it, sent out to you. Well, it's 9 chapters, 1 for each of the course, each of the nights of the 9-course class. That will be a book that you don't have to take the class to buy the book. You don't have to buy the book to take the class, but it's best to do both. It's going to be the only true stuff. The rest of it is censored truths on marriage prep. We're gonna do a show on that book next week. It's going to be really exciting. Steph will be with me. And you can actually go pre-order that book right now on where? timothyjgordon.com.
timothyjgordon.com, hit book.
We're gonna give a teaser on what that book will be like, and I guess what the class will be like next week. Also, what you can do, this corresponds with the subsidiarity pillar of this channel, is get out of your blue state, get to a red state today. It's drawing near to the election. They might make anything illegal. Who knows? They might do whatever they have to do to win. Get out before they do whatever they're going to do. Get out of your blue state, get to a red state today. If you're in a red state, make sure it's a very red state. You're good if it's a very red state. Go to realestateforlife.org. So this is very, very interesting. Joe Biden is so incompetent that he's going to be forced to drop out of the presidential election. That's an interesting reality. And everyone kind of knows it. So there's nothing new. But we all kind of joked about that without actually thinking that the DNC would make him tender his resignation. Yesterday, it became the abiding assumption. And now today they're saying no. So what is it? Is this a cope? And I'm not promising, the way I do with Pope Francis that I'm absolutely certain that there's a connection between Biden will drop out, no he won't, yes he will, no he won't, yes he will, no he won't. The kind of what we're used to from Pope Francis, doublespeak, Eugenio Scalfari, doublespeak. I'm not promising I know which one it'll be, but it's interesting. And I'm not promising that there's a connection between this dithering doublespeak and the CrowdStrike outage from today. But if we're using history as our guide, because past is prologue, then what they did last, 4 years ago, should be prologue. The past is the prologue. And there's something, I've told you for a long time, that Beer Bug Part 2 will not necessarily be a bug. It could be fake cinema-like giant creatures that look like 10-foot bugs. You call them aliens. I think War of the Worlds, that could be Beer Bug 2. It could be massive cyber attack. I don't mean just this CrowdStrike thing. This could have been some sort of wargaming. This outage, software outage. It could be some sort of wargaming for it, and we could see a massive cyber attack. I mean, buy all the books you're going to buy now. Go buy our new book that's forthcoming, Leave and Cleave, now. In case the internet goes down forever. I don't think they're going to do that. But if you ever wanted to become a Locals or Subscribe Star patron or make a donation to the Gordon family that's strictly donative, do it now because the internet, I don't know, is not a diamond. It ain't forever. There are conditions for the possibility of continued internet use. And guess what? It's the world elites that know what those conditions for the possibility are. This CrowdStrike thing could just be the tip of the iceberg. It could be an example, to quote Michael Guimarin, of a deniable infrastructure attack. Or it could be nothing. At any rate, we should soon find out. Look, 4 years ago, I found out soon. I remember in 2020, I guess it's more than 4 years ago, when they began the mass psychosis event then. I'll define that for you in a second. But I remember when they did what they did, 4.5 years ago. People were like, well, I believed that the 2-week shutdown was good. I believed Fauci was good. I believed that the jabbity jab, cloddy shoddy was good until 2 years later. And how would anyone know? Just how would anyone know ahead of time? I'm like, oh, it ain't that hard. It ain't that hard to tell. I mean, then just not that hard to tell. And I knew before the election even. And a lot of you did too. A lot of you parish orphans and retrogrades out there knew too. So there could be a connection between these two strange recent events, current events of the last 36 hours. The software accident, bank shutdowns, plane shutdowns. They're just using workarounds right now, according to Drudge Report. On the one hand, and on the other hand, the Biden dropout doublespeak. When have they ever been so forthcoming with what they plan to do? Oh, he will drop out. He won't. He will. We're telling you the truth. So I incline towards a causal bridge between those two events. And I incline toward thinking it means more. There's really very few coincidences. There's just incidences. But now it's a bigger prediction to say, stay tuned, folks. Buckle up. Mass psychosis event. Here's what a mass psychosis event is, also known as mass hysteria, mass psychogenic illness, that's an MPI, or mass sociogenic illness, MSI. They're all basically the same shit. It's a social phenomenon where a group of people experience similar symptoms that have psychological causes rather than a physical one. Does that sound like anything of the last 5 years? Now, I know you guys, a lot of you guys still believe anytime you think there's a physical cause, there is one, but there's a lead contender for a major MPI or MSI, mass psychosis event in the last 5 or so years. See if you can think what it would be. Mimicked. Flu bug completely disappeared for a year or two. Anyway, we'll talk about the future one that could be around the corner. Maybe one's never happened. Maybe one will never happen. I don't know. These symptoms can include unusual behaviors, thoughts, and feelings, as well as physical symptoms caused by emotional or mental tension. The group members often share a common belief about what might be causing the symptoms. Could be anything, a bug, I'm just saying. And these irrational beliefs can spread quickly, leading to mass outbreaks of fear and anxiety. Remember the Chinese tapes, the tapes of Chinese subways from late 2019? What is he suggesting? Mass psychosis events can happen to anyone, but it's more likely to occur during times of major stress, turbulence, or emotional upheaval. Some examples of mass psychosis events throughout history include the dancing plague of 1518. Doesn't that sound wonderful?
Like, oh, I've heard of that.
Everyone just began dancing, and It was a plague.
The dancing shall begin.
The Salem witch trials, that was just a bunch of witches in northeastern North America from 1692 to 1693. Good riddance, right? I don't count that as one. The writing tremor epidemic of 1892. I don't even know what that one is.
They just all sound productive.
These all do sound like you're getting a bunch of, you're behind on your dancing. Boom, the plague hits. You catch up on years worth of dancing. Or writing tremor. When you're writing, you have a tremor, I guess. I don't know that one. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon, 1944. That sounds like something Lewis Carroll might write. The June bug epidemic of 1962. The Tanganyika laughing epidemic. That just sounds like a good time.
Yeah, these are all not sounding so bad.
No, dancing, laughing, or getting a bunch of writing done. The Mad Gasser probably was rough. Monkey Men in India in 2001.
Okay, now we come to the one that sounds bad.
That sounds crazy. The rapid spread of illness, signs, and symptoms affecting members of a cohesive group originating from a nervous system disturbance involving excitation, loss, or alteration of function, whereby physical complaints that are exhibited unconsciously have no corresponding organic causes that are known, almost like a hive mind. Human beings act, I've learned this since I've been on YouTube. Say one thing and all the trads are mad. Say one thing, all the normies are mad. They're always mad at me. Say one thing, all the people who thought they're not feminist but are mad. That's like every day. And I just keep doing my thing. That rules for retrogrades. If you support this show, you support a show that says the truth, come what may. Now that's like the 5th unspoken pillar. Let justice be done, though the heavens fall. Let truth be said, though the heavens fall. If you support this show, good for you. Thank you. Please continue to. But hive mind, we just rewatched Stranger Things season 2. Hive mind is like where there's a causal connection that's not evident between you hurt like one member of the hive and everyone else gets hurt too, like the mind flayer in Stranger Things too. But the causality isn't evident. It's not readily apparent. Interesting. Human beings act like a hive mind. You hurt one of us, you hurt all of us. This, the tribalism. And I'm not saying tribalism is always bad, but what some people are thinking this is going to be is basically the run up to the 2020 election. Similar result. I do agree with, I was texting my brother here, we'll soon find out. This is my other brother, not Dave. This is my other brother. You don't know. I think Biden's camp is just enjoying a large serving of cope while they negotiate their deal on the way out the door. That's what my other brother thinks. He knows a lot about these things. Now I'm like, I don't know. The CrowdStrike outage is really interesting. Gray zone warfare is something we've all learned a lot about in the last 5 years. I don't know why. Deniable infrastructure attacks are things we've learned a lot about the last 2 or 3 years. And I don't know. They're saying all is well. CrowdStrike is back to normal, but Drudge is reporting it's just, there's just a workaround in place. I'll read Michael's full tweet. Was this deliberate or accidental? I already read the first part. Was it deliberate or accidental? We'll never know. But why would it be an attack rather than incompetence? He says timing, incentive, method. Let's start with method. He goes in reverse order. Going back over a decade, there have been numerous complexity cascades kicked off by single points of failure within large IT infrastructures. Out of this experience, a kind of professional methodology has emerged. First, do not have single points of failure in your infrastructure. It's a huge global corporation. They don't have single points of failure. Seems obvious, but the devilishly difficult thing to do in practice, as the surface you're protecting is complex and constantly changing. So they don't have single points of failure. Second, when you do have a single point of failure, create process to gate updates that. This gets kind of techie and nerd. I don't really care about that. Now, here's the incentive. This is the interesting part. He has 4 reasons why method is interesting, but it's kind of IT nerd stuff. We're talking big picture here. I stay big. I'm an idea guy. Incentive. As a security person, I would not use CrowdStrike. I wouldn't use them because there's a nexus of corruption surrounding I can't pronounce that word. It's a country, though. I don't want to even say that country name on YouTube. And CrowdStrike is attached to that nexus involving whatever the country's called. They lied about the DNC hack, and they have stakeholders who benefited handsomely from that lie. Also, if you look at the incentives for all the people involved to buy and deploy CrowdStrike, it's not something I want to be anything near. Now, the timing is also very interesting. These kinds of errors do happen, but I've worked with an engineer. I've not worked with an engineer on such a critical system who would be messing around with this sort of thing when it happened. I've been a part of dumb deployments that have taken out global infrastructure for lots of people, like tens of millions of people affected. It happens, no doubt. It's possible an honest error happened here, but not probable given the timing. The RNC Trump speech last night, less than a week after someone got nearly, at that rally, what nearly happened to that guy named President Trump. Remember what nearly happened to him 6 days ago? So the timing's weird there. The timing's weird after he makes his first major speech at RNC. Timing's weird when they were floating this idea of Biden being kicked out. And this particular tweeter named Michael Guimarin says, personally, what do I believe happened? 25% actual human error, 75% deliberate outage. If it's a deliberate outage, he writes, this is on Twitter, Michael Guimarin, and I think it was, who and why? Harder to quantify, but I'd surmise there's infighting going on between the deep state and some of their factions. IMO, CrowdStrike is a rootkit dead man switch into most of the megacorp infrastructure. Similar to SolarWinds, but instead of being an op that was stolen and co-opted, this is more like the Clipper chip. From the beginning, a deliberate single point of failure. Anyway, the war is going poorly, and I think somebody somewhere on the side receiving money there wants to remind everyone they have leverage, he says. Cernovich is saying similar things to Guimarin. It's a country, that country. It's an oligarch-connected company that blamed the 2016 WikiLeaks on Rus something. Yeah, I just don't know what you can say when you're dealing with this secular stuff. See, in the Francis Church, all I have to watch out for is say Skittles, say Homo sapien, Homo sapiens love Skittles, right? Human beings love eating that kind of candy. Homo sapiens love Skittles. If I say that, lavender, mafia, and stuff like that, then I'm good. Because they don't really cover for Francis, even if Francis is their boy, the WEF Pope. they don't really cover for him. But now this is, becoming late summer, guys. Parish orphans and retrogrades is becoming late summer. And so this is, I don't know what I can say. I'm not saying the names of any of those Eastern European countries. Like, Ivan Drago's from there, fake boxer. A lot of real boxers are from, the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Usyk is from the other one. They're neighboring countries. Ivan Drago, and who's fictitious, and Usyk, the real heavyweight boxer, is from this neighboring country of Ivan Drago's country. I don't even know if I can say him. He says it's a convenient time to do that since that war in Eastern Europe's going poorly. To do that change, to change the media story coming out of the RNC, Trump attempted, two butts in a nation attempt. If everyone is focused on something tangible like not being able to use the bank, hospital, or plane, they're more likely to forget the intangible. But he says, I don't think that was motive enough. I don't know. And then he cites Cerno. I don't know. Who can read these tea leaves? Keep your, what is it, nose to the grindstone? Your ear to the grindstone? Your tongue to the grind? Keep your ears out this weekend. I mean, it's not like you have to listen that hard. If the president steps down, such as to not be an incumbent, is because he's probably forced out, forced replacement, New World Order, WEF, George Soros, and the guys that are really behind those corny names that everyone knows, then we're going to hear about it. I'm just saying it was supposed to happen like today or tomorrow if Biden was to be replaced. This power outage is pretty crazy. And it could all be connected. Musk is still reporting they're taking Biden fishing soon. We'll see. I think they don't mean in the Charles Barkley NBA on TNT way. Biden, Musk is insinuating it's in the Godfather 2 Fredo way. Godfather 2 Fredo fishing, or NBA on TNT, Charles, Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie talking about teams that get eliminated from the playoffs go fishing, but they actually get to fish and spend time with their family in the offseason. I don't wish anything ill upon anybody, but I'm interested in this. And just all I'm saying is don't underestimate the incidences and their causal bridges that are happening in these days. I mean, how long has it been since the president? It's been since right around my birthday when Reagan was nearly two butts in a nation. Right around my birthday, in 1981, and that two butts in a nation attempt on Trump last 6 days ago, last weekend. Now, huge power outage, banks down, planes down, internet down, huge swaths of the world. A company that has strong connections to Alexander Usyk's home country, which is involved in that Eastern European foreign conflict, or something. It's just all very interesting. So keep your rosary beads handy. Stuff is weird. We've known it for 5 or 6 years. We really knew it since 2016 when we found out who Marina Abramovich is. Really, the first Trump election, then the second Trump election. Now it's funny we have a third Trump election. And I think for the third time, he's going to win. I think he's going to win 3 times in a row. Well, a president can't be a 3-term president. Well, he didn't get to serve. He didn't. It turns out a few things happened. He had plans, or they had plans. So I don't know, but it's interesting, and there is a real likelihood that Biden could still be replaced. I wasn't trying to do clickbait. I never do clickbait. we accidentally put an exclamation point in the way it's written on the thumbnail. It's a full question mark in the YouTube video title. I will never put a question mark in there if I'm going to answer affirmatively one way. If I put a question mark in a titular question mark into the title of a show, that means I'm not sure, but I'm going to talk about it. And I think it's interesting either way. I have buddies like, I mean, you can listen to Cernovich or something. And then people don't listen to him too much anymore. Or even my buddy, Quite Frankly, go check out his channel. He'll probably be on this tonight. I'm going to text him right now, see if he's on this tonight. CrowdStrike outage, Biden stepping down, not stepping down. What the hell is going on out there, guys? All we know is it's not normal. Going into the weekend where big stuff could happen. Last weekend, there was a 2 butts in a nation attempt on the president's life. And now, I don't know. People are speculating about, people have been speculating for a while about Biden. I hope. I don't want anything happening to anyone. Like, you know, Trump's more like a friend. Not quite. Biden feels not friendly to people like us, even though he's technically Catholic. But it doesn't matter. Friend or not friend. You want people to be okay. I mean, it's kind of the Catholic way. And there are attempts on people's lives, like former President Trump, future President Trump's last weekend. And it's scary times. So say prayers for the leaders of the world. I mean, pray that Biden finds his marbles and finds Jesus and finds the real sacraments and makes a full confession. But pray that this guy, remember, we always have to pray. Pray for the Pope, pray for the president. I know they're lefties. They're big-time lefties. And Biden's a lot more of a crackpot than Francis. But pray for both of them. Pray for the current president. Pray for Pope Francis. Pray they both find their real, true Roman Catholic faith and act accordingly, and pray that for their health, their well-being, and for the health and well-being of this country, because stuff is just weird right now. It's just very, very weird. God bless America. God bless you. God bless the church. God bless the Pope. God bless the president, by which I mean Biden in this exceptional instance, and God bless President Trump. Deus